Here's Dad, and another video. I'm still at my son and daughter's house. Still, you can see back there is the dog, that's Zara. So let me continue where I left off. So still on the let's talk about your kids topic. In what ways are your kids like you? The first thing I said, they're cheap. Well, cheap. So my son Michael will often say to me, I'm cheap like you. Like, the one thing that rubbed off on me is being cheap. And to their credit, yes, I can be cheap. But let me explain. When you grow up without a lot, you don't have the latest clothes, you don't have the latest trends, you don't have a brand new car, you don't just anything. I mean, I could go on and on and on about my childhood and growing up, and my parents they made every penny stretch. When I was a little kid in kindergarten, first, second, third grade, they made me bring my lunch bag home to reuse it. So imagine this: you're sitting in the cafeteria with all your friends or your classmates, and everybody pulls out their lunch, whether it was in a lunch pail, a lunch bag, lunch box, whatever, or a brown paper bag. And I had to, after I was done unloading my lunch and eating my lunch, fold the bag back up and put it in my pocket. Now, kids are mean, right? I used to get so much flack for saving my lunch bag that I would throw it out, and then I'd have to get yelled at home as to why I did not bring the bag home. Now, I wasn't going to tell my parents, or at the time I didn't have enough, mental and or developmental clarity in my head to say, Mom and Dad, it's a little ridiculous to save the brown paper bag. I understand your logic behind it, but it's embarrassing for me and my friends. But no, I couldn't do that. All I could say is, I don't know, I forgot. And then get yelled at for forgetting to bring my bag home. So it is stories like that that have enabled or put into me that cheapness. If you don't have to spend money on something, you don't. If it's broken, you fix it before you throw it away. If you're going to buy something, a lot of times you look for the cheapest whatever. Now, I generally, in my life today as an adult, I generally do that. And I think my kids do as well. I know Faith, oh my gosh, she's as cheap as I am. That kid will not spend $1. You have to force her to get her to spend any money. My son Michael, he's a little bougie. He will spend money relatively quickly. Julianne throws caution to the wind. If that girl's got $1, she's got to spend it. Erica and Mark, they're a little bit more pragmatic. I mean, they have a family now, right? They have to prioritize their spending. But I'd say overall, my kids, being like me, they're all cheap. Practical to a fault. So I say that because, here's an example. And this was just a couple of years ago, Tina and I went down to Myrtle Beach, and we brought our granddaughter, Brielle, right? So she was maybe three, 4, maybe, a couple years ago. And she wanted an ice cream cone, or she wanted ice cream, and we were at the boardwalk. Now, the cheap and practical side of me was getting angry because my wife, Tina, wanted to get her the largest ice cream and a big sugar cone when I was like, she's a little child, she's just barely over toddler. Just get her a little cup, right? She'll be happy. So the practical side of me came out to say it was impractical to get a big ice cream. And where am I going with this story? And that was the practical side, as opposed to looking at it going, well, my granddaughter was full of joy getting a large ice cream and walking around with an ice cream cone that is bigger than her. So my children, in some ways, are practical to a fault. They they will not do something because, oh, it wasn't practical to do so. It was, maybe too much effort to do something. It was not worth it. So I kind of think my kids are practical to a fault. Maybe not. I'll have to ask them. I think they are. My children, as well as me, we love being together as a family and look forward to family outings, family events, family holidays. We generally all love each other. And so I love my family, and my family loves each other. So yeah, my kids are like that. And I think my kids, they prioritize family. They look at that as something that's important in their lives, and being close with their siblings and close with their parents. I think they think that's important because I do. Um, for the most part, they are clean and know how to take care of their things. So while I can occasionally get a little cluttered, my office desk can get a little cluttered. I leave like computer stuff all over my desk, and I might get a little disorganized. Maybe my workbench is a little cluttered, a little disorganized. For the most part, I don't like dirt. I don't like scum, and everything has to be, clean. I will let the kitchen, maybe one day I'll let the kitchen slide, have dishes in the sink and stuff, but it usually doesn't last more than a day. And I think all my kids are pretty much the same way. They like to be clean and neat. I think my children are loving to everyone. Yes, I think my goes along with a family. I think my children are loving to each other. They're loving to other people, and they're genuinely nice people. My kids are like me. We're genuinely nice. We are genuinely concerned about the welfare of other people, because I think I am, and I think they are too. And lastly, work ethic. I was raised with a very, very strong work ethic. I think all of my children are. I think all of them, in their own ways, are very successful in their careers and successful in their occupations. They don't put it first, but they do give it their 100%, and it shows. Excuse me, because they're all successful in that way. Next question: how are they different? So I said, I think my kids are independent and strong enough in their convictions that they can disagree with me. So, as an example, my daughter Julianne is extremely liberal when it comes to a lot of social and political views. I do not agree with her on many, many things, but that's okay because we can disagree. I think Julianne might be a little bit more of an emotional decision maker, and she's different than me because I'm not. If I look at a situation, I try and analyze it without any emotion, whether it's gun control, abortion, um, politics, something, what the president is doing or isn't doing, Black Lives Matter, immigration, taxes, whatever the topic may be. I try and look at it without getting emotional, using any emotions at all. I look at the pros, I look at the cons, and I can make decisions based on that. My daughter Julianne is the complete opposite. She can get very emotional when dealing and talking about these topics. My son Michael can also do the same thing. Sometimes it's hard to disagree with them on things because they are very, very opinionated. I can be opinionated too. But I think the difference between me and them is I'm willing to sometimes reconsider my views, reconsider my positions. I'm not sure if they are. I could be wrong, but look, my kids are not exactly like me, and in many ways they're not like me. They are very different. I couldn't think of too many other things about how they're different, but I'm sure as my kids watch this, in the next conversation that we have, they'll say, "Dad, you're this way about whatever, and I'm completely different." And I'll be like, "You know what? You're right. That's fine." Okay, so I think I can go to the next page. I'm only about 9 minutes. Okay. Dad trivia. Here we go. If you could do any one thing for a day, what would it be? Ooh. So the first thing I wrote was be like Superman for the day. So yes, I'd love to be like Superman for the day, which includes being able to fly, right? I'd love to be able to be like Superman and go down to the very depths of the ocean and use my like supervision, sonar, whatever, and map out what's on the ocean floor. Is there like massive caves down there that we don't know about? Is there some like aliens living at the bottom of the ocean and huge cities and spaceships that we don't know about? I'd love to be like Superman for a day and totally explore the ocean, fly around the planet, the whole bit. That's one thing I'd love to do for a day. The other thing, and this is a riot, and this is just goes to show when I daydream, like when I'm thinking about stuff, this is the stuff that I think about. I would love to have a quantum brain for a day, right? So although I don't completely understand quantum physics and quantum computers, I just know like the little surface. I know that a quantum computer can like almost do anything, and it can solve problems that it would take traditional computers billions of years to solve. I'd love to have a quantum computer as a brain, and then I'd like to, on top of that, be able to access um, Wi-Fi. Like because I have a computer brain and my brain is wired, I can jump into any computer network. Basically, in the snap of a finger, I can be everywhere inside every computer around the world, and I want to get and know about all the juicy little secrets that are out there in the world. Who really shot JFK and who was involved? Are there aliens out in Area 51, or the Bob Lazar story? Is that true? How much insider trading is Nancy Pelosi really doing? Who's running the U.S. government as opposed to our president and members of Congress and the Senate? Who's really in charge? I'd love to get into every computer network, every place, every stone unturned around the internet and know it in an instant. And then have all of that knowledge for a day and then start uncovering all of this stuff. Wouldn't it be great to uncover all of the corruption, all of the waste, fraud, and abuse? Oh, it would be so fun to be able to do that. So I'd love to do that for a day. That's just a little dad trivia for me. Okay, next question. What is your favorite season? What are some things you love about that time of the year? I love the fall, and I think everybody in my family likes the fall. I like the crisp air, right? I love wearing a hoodie, going outside on a beautiful sunny day. It's not too hot. You got a hoodie on. The sun is shining. You got leaves. You got the colors of the leaves. Crisp apples. There is nothing better than going to an orchard in the fall, going apple picking, and biting into an apple that's like rock hard and juicy. Oh, so good, so good. And also, I love the fall because that means that hunting season is coming, or hunting season is already there. So summer bow starts like at the end of September, end of August, September. So by October, you know, I can go hunting. I can go hunting in October as long as we have some cold days. So hunting season's coming. That's why I love about the fall. What is a smell that reminds you of a childhood and why? Cow manure. I love the smell of cow manure because it reminds me of growing up in Sussex County, New Jersey, Newton, a very farm agricultural community, heating wood. We were always at a farm gathering, cutting down trees, clearing trees, chopping up wood, bringing wood home, and just, driving around Sussex County, you often smell horse pasture or cow pasture, and some people think it's disgusting. I actually like the smell, and it just reminds me of home. So, it reminds me of my childhood. In addition to cow manure, getting, oh yeah, well, and also with cow manure, every summer my dad would grow a garden, and he would go out to various farmers, and in the winter time they would keep their cows inside in barns and stuff, and the cows just poop everywhere and stomp it down. Well, in the spring you have to clean out the barns. So my dad would show up with shovels and us kids in tow, and we'd get out there with pitchforks and shovels, and we would, break up and shovel out the manure and throw it in the back of the truck so we could spread it on the garden and, rototill it in for fertilizer. So, hence, even though cow manure is associated with work, I still enjoy the smell of it. And then lastly, the smell of a wood-burning stove, a fireplace, really brings me back to my childhood because we heated the house with wood, and that smell is just something that'll always stay with me. All right, I think I have time for one more here on this page. What is your least favorite household chore? Well, it used to be picking up after the dogs, because I had to pick up dog poo when I was a kid. I never liked doing it. I didn't like doing it as an adult. I didn't like doing it after 4 dogs. That's why I made my kids do it. So that was my least favorite chore. Now that we don't have dogs, I'd have to say I don't enjoy cleaning the shower, just because it's such a pain getting in the grout and being in the shower cleaning it. I'll clean toilets, I'll clean sinks, mirrors, kitchen, I'll clean just about anything. But cleaning the shower, that's my least favorite chore. I don't really do that, or I don't really like doing that. And the last question: what do you do better than anyone else in the family? Well, let me tell you, I load the dishwasher better than anybody else. Most people in my family, it's like, why don't you just throw it in there from across the kitchen and hope that it lands upright, and everything is stacked haphazardly. When you load a dishwasher, the plates go in a certain way, the utensils go in the bin, the glasses go on top, you line everything up, everything has a specific place in how it has to go in the dishwasher. I do it correctly. Nobody else in the house does it right. It's just one of those things I have to deal with, right? Well, that's it. All right, 17 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop this one, and then I will continue on with the next video and the next page. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye.